Welcome to our group project, everyone. Our team today consists of myself, Alwas Manaese, Kieran Go, Olivia Nelson, and Sarah Owen. Our research project focuses on how collegiate sports market. However, I'm sure you're wondering what exactly our research question is. Well, wait no longer. Our research question is, to what extent does the marketing of collegiate sports reflect the diversity of an institution? To answer this question, we aim to focus on certain aspects of the way the athletic programs market. First, we analyzed team social media accounts to gather data. So we looked at Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channels as well. Secondly, we explored strategies used by colleges and universities to market their athletic programs as diverse. Thirdly, Sarah and I would focus on comparing how schools' demographics online aim to show racial representation. Finally, we aim to highlight whether these top 10 Division 1 schools institutions are representing the minority population in their athletic programs as exist and note any areas for improvement.
So as early as the 1960s, promotion of diversity has been seen within sports programs. Many institutions are guilty of false advertisement in an attempt to attract young athletes to a diverse and more inclusive university. Through online marketing, organizations are able to present themselves in the most positive ways, attempting to expand social networks. We are in a digital era and everything's online. So an online presence is extremely important for many universities all over the country. So the two methods we'll be using are instrument and analysis, and the method of data collection will be a combination of content and textual analysis. And through online research, multiple patterns have surfaced that support the online research of this project. And an example of a pattern is how most institutions pride themselves on inclusivity, while statistics may say otherwise. Data organization will be determined based on various social media outlets and the data obtained from them. In addition to using factual numbers and statistics will aid in the overall development of the project, which leads us into the analysis of the project, which will be organized through comparing and contrasting. So the demographics from each institution will be used to compare the data acquired in order to make sense of what the data actually articulates. So themes will be needed to do that. Analyzing themes regarding the school's majority demographics in comparison to how the program represents their athletes on these platforms is essential to answering the research question. So our analysis will reveal if an institution is still capable of representing their minorities regardless of their racial majority.
The significance of this research is important because student athletes and incoming student populations utilize social media to virtually see a school and its online identity. This is more prevalent now than ever as we move from traditional to new media practices in society, and these colleges and universities recognize the importance of an online presence. Specifically, this is beneficial to students who live farther away from a school's campus, such as international students. So new mobile media is more convenient as it allows these students to virtually get a feel for the school while avoiding travel fees and such. Diversity within a school and athletic organization is highly valued in order to be considered an inclusive setting for incoming students. Colleges use this fact to attract students as they try to present themselves as diverse and inclusive to all. Therefore, our research aims to find a pattern within these marketing strategies on social media and expose institutions that are falsely advertising their demographic or lacking representation for their minority populations.
Why is diversity so important in college athletics? Number one, it creates an environment of creativity and innovation coming from a multitude of opinions and varying backgrounds. Number two, it increases marketing opportunities, which is why these institutions use diversity as an advantage to make their school look more appealing. Number three, it promotes positive culture, which is especially important for a team setting in which players must work together regardless of any indifferences.
So the next slide is our top 10 Division 1 schools. And maybe you can actually recognize some schools here yourself. So as we go through our findings, just let us see if you can find some patterns. So our first school is Stanford University, which has a majority of white male and female students.
As you can see from the photos taken from Instagram, the content is from Stanford Athletics page. This page has posted these 3 photos of different sports, and the Instagram photos contain multiple races and genders, which shows the school's diversity in their marketing techniques. Stanford is very successful in showing its diversity through posting all sports and the wide variety of races that compete, which is very similar to the marketing techniques used by UCLA. These are great marketing techniques for the big Division I schools because it boasts the inclusiveness of the school and how they target being an institution that welcomes all races and cultures.
As far as Stanford Athletics' YouTube page, the first section on their page showcases their Sweet Life of Stanford series, in which African-American host Fran vlogs daily life as a member of the women's basketball team. These videos show good representation of all athletes on the team, aside from the host, and it especially displays their remarkable team connection and a healthy environment with their inclusive diversity.
The next university that was looked at is Princeton University, with the majority of white male and female students.
Looking at the findings for Princeton, I chose to focus the Instagram section on the women's golf team. They have posted a wide variety of content from 2019 to 2022 in regards to golf events and team events. This shows 4 photos on your left on the slides from different years that show their team and how it mostly consists of the Asian race. The women's golf team at Princeton University shows struggle with marketing diversity, as they have a very small amount of diversity throughout the team and coaching staff. This is something they need to work on moving forward to show their diversifying efforts. All of the posts do not show much diversity and just highlight the fact that they have a well-connected team of Asian athletes.
As far as the Princeton Athletics YouTube channel goes, they have a series of videos on Director of Princeton Athletics, John Mack, who is featured in multiple videos. In The Promise of Princeton, he speaks on attending the school as a Black male and finding his place. A direct quote from the video reads, "As a young Black male, is there a place for me at Princeton? Hank Towns looked at my father and said, 'Send your son to Princeton, and we will take care of him.' And that promise meant the world to me, and I can say that for the last 25 years, Princeton has kept that promise." Having an African-American director of athletics proves Princeton's strive toward showcasing their diversity, especially due to the fact that John Mack is a Princeton alum. The videos of him on his YouTube prove his own mission toward leading the athletics program to be inclusive, as he mentions in the video. So regardless of Princeton's majority white makeup, their YouTube channel highlights their mission for the athletics program.
The next university is the University of Florida, which has a majority of white male and female students who attend this school.
The Florida Gators basketball have 2 Instagram accounts for both genders. The findings show a photo of 2 players from the Gators men's basketball team, 1 African-American athlete and 1 Caucasian athlete on the team. A wide variety of their posts show how they represent diversity through their Instagram profiles. Their Instagram accounts boast a high level of diversity by posting regular content showing both African-American athletes and Caucasian athletes throughout the basketball page. Although the demographics at Florida are primarily white Caucasian students, they do an excellent job at showing diversity through their social media, especially Instagram, with these types of posts for the teams across the institution.
As far as their YouTube channel goes, I'm going to start with showing you a portion of the University of Florida's pinned video on their YouTube channel.
Well, after so much waiting, so many unknowns, this morning we get back to a little sense of normalcy.
It's exciting. It's really an exciting time for all of us involved.
It's just great to be playing football, to be honest with you. It's so great to be out there playing football again.
Like a bull chasing the matadors, a man left with his own schemes. Everybody needs someone beside him, shining like a lighthouse from the sea. Last time that
All right, so from this video, their strive to diversity, support, and inclusion for all athletes is solidified through a small clip of a Black Lives Matter wristband. This is a small but important inclusion to their highlighted video, as they're making a clear stance to show their support for one of the largest movements of this decade. This video was only made less than a year ago, so as to prove that this was not just something they featured during the height of the movement, but they are recognizing that it is still an important issue today. All in all, Florida Gators can be a leading example to all other schools in how to properly showcase diversity in a genuine way, even though they show a higher white student demographic than some of the other schools.
The next institution that was looked at is the University of California, which has not a majority of white students, but actually the white and Asian students that attend this institution are more on an even basis. So this is one out of the 10 institutions that we looked at was almost not as big of a white population.
As you can see on the slide for the UCLA findings, it promotes photos of two athletes of a different race competing in different sports that are a part of the school's athletic program. These photos were posted on their athletics page and represent the diversity that they have in a wide variety of sports. This is in a good way of showing the efforts they are making to keep showing diversity that they have across the different teams. UCLA demonstrated great diversity through their marketing by showing the wide variety of races and ethnicities that exist throughout all their sports programs. By UCLA posting this content on their pages, it markets the wide range of diversity and culture that they have across their campus and athletes, which is a huge positive for incoming students and athletes because it shows inclusiveness and gives a welcoming nature.
The pinned video on UCLA's YouTube channel showcases a major change in diversity efforts, as it features videos from decades ago as compared to now. The older videos did not feature any athletes of color, which is notable. However, a further look into their page shows the majority of videos about their other teams that highly lack a diverse makeup, but that doesn't mean that these other athletes don't exist at all. So UCLA could benefit from giving them a better platform on their page.
UNC Chapel Hill has over 50% white student population, and this is one that was over half of the rest of the universities.
Despite UNC Chapel Hill having a high population that consists of mostly Caucasian individuals, the university and specifically the athletic page on Twitter aim to promote and market in a diverse manner. For example, the page on the left you see is a joint post by UNC Chapel Hill that consists of two different individuals of different sexes and races. These images were a joint post by the athletics program to celebrate the men's and basketball team reaching the tournament known as March Madness for the first time since 2015. On the right is another example of UNC Chapel Hill marketing in a diverse manner. In the game graphic, the picture includes two different individuals from different races embracing each other when competing. Additionally, what was interesting when studying UNC Chapel Hill men and females basketball program was that teams both had head coaches from two different races. The athletic program focused on this massively when promoting diversity throughout the institution.
The first thing on UNC's athletic YouTube channel is their men's basketball playlist, which accurately represents their team of a mostly African-American makeup with only 2 Caucasian players. A further look into their page shows all the other teams, and these video thumbnails are evident that the school does have the highest white population out of our research, which is 60%. However, it is notable that they still value their men's basketball team on their page and give those players a good spotlight at the school.
The next institution that was looked at is Harvard University, which has a 40% white male and female majority that attends this institution.
In contrast to UNC Chapel Hill, Harvard University failed to show a consistent pattern of marketing in a diverse way. For example, from the 10th of March to the 22nd of March, the university posted 40 pictures on their athletic page. However, they failed to include diverse pictures that include people from all different backgrounds and races. This was striking, seeing as during Black History Month, the university posted numerous posts that show different races of people. Hence, this illustrates how the university does have the ability to market it done in a diverse manner, however, at times they choose not to.
So while scrolling through Harvard Athletics YouTube page, there's a section called the Shorts section, which personally I found extremely fascinating considering the attention span that this generation and the generations to come are about to have. So this is a great way to engage young aspiring students into these short clips and videos. So Black coaches promoting Black History Month makes Harvard seem as if they are diverse and inclusive, when in reality, those videos were placed there deliberately. Minorities who attend Harvard are not being represented as significantly as they exist on these teams. The statistics do clearly show mostly white men who not only attend the university, but work for it too. So as you can see, these are the first three, when you first get on the YouTube page, these are the first three videos that are seen to the eye. Now, if you keep scrolling to the right, you can see there are check-ins with students who attend Harvard University. And as you can see with your eyes, the first student's white, second student's white, third, and so the next 7 videos are all white students. So the takeaway from this whole thing is even though that there are Black coaches promoting Black History Month, the problem is a lot of institutions want to promote and show their support around Black History Month only. And it just doesn't seem as authentic as it could be. And again, through the analysis, the first coach was the basketball coach, the second coach was the strength and conditioning coach, and the third coach was the water polo coach. And we thought that this was a perfect opportunity for Harvard to actually give students the representation that they deserve within those check-ins. So this was a bit disappointing. And the next university is the University of Michigan, which has a majority of white male and female students. And this is a video of the University of Michigan's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategic Plan.
Today marks the beginning of the implementation process of our 5-year Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategic Plan. The future of our great university will be determined by how well we embrace the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I think what's most important is understanding what implicit biases we bring to our everyday work.
This is a manifestation of something really important. It's about you, it's about me, it's about everyone.
I definitely did have a rough time feeling included on campus and feeling like my voice really mattered.
I'm not actually a target of a lot of things that are happening on campus, but I find that a lot of people that I care about are, and so it really hurts me to see them hurting, and so I definitely think that's something that's necessary here.
I'm an openly queer student, and I know that I've had a series of interactions that are negative at best.
There are times I do feel unsafe, and then there are times I feel like, wow, this is my home.
I really appreciate the commitment for inclusion with individuals with disabilities. I have MS, and so I really wanted to hear kind of what steps they might take to make sure that students are able to have full access regardless of ability.
Faculty, students, staff, regardless of race, gender, national origin, ability status, sexual orientation, sexual identity, you name it, social class, I want them to feel like this was their university, that they had ownership, that they belonged, that the university was important to them, and that they were important to the university.
And so it is never more important to have something like this out in the world on our campus, saying to both ourselves and each other that we are important and that every single person has a voice on this campus.
Our goal was in the morning to provide an opportunity to say to the world, this is the plan. For the past year and a half, we have been working very hard to develop this really 50 plans. And we wanted to have some event that kicked off and that officially marked the beginning of this process. And then the afternoon event with the students, the student life event, we wanted to make sure that there was a clear understanding of what it actually meant for the students. And then the last event in the evening was really sort of a celebration of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really talking about what we could be and how we could be.
I think the proof is in the pudding, but I'm definitely optimistic.
As someone who's been here for a little while and seeing a little bit of change that has happened, I'm hopeful that there can be bigger, better change.
This is something that I need so badly. They need a pathway into being able to get an education, they need a pathway into being able to become a professional. I wanted to hear that they were thinking about how to make it a place that people of all abilities can really contribute.
So while watching the YouTube video promoting this 5-year plan, multiple students at the University of Michigan felt that their school needed to change. There's a lot of concern of feeling safe and having one's voice heard. This plan has been implemented in 2016, and in the most recent video posted in 2021 has stayed consistent with their motto. Dr. Robert Sellers is the vice provost for the Equity and Inclusion and chief diversity officer. He was seen and heard in both promotional videos. From the research collected, it is clear that the University of Michigan has made a continuous effort in order to market diversity within the institution. So in order to keep track of their progress, a progress report was also made. Each year, the University of Michigan creates this annual report in an effort to both support the work over the various year and provide transparency in its 5-year DEI strategic planning process. So this is a proactive way to hold a university accountable for their progress, which many other universities should probably be implementing as well. And our next and final university is Yale University with a majority of white male and female students.
Yale University, a university known as the Bulldogs, aimed to adopt a similar approach to UNC Chapel Hill. Their Twitter page consistently posted joint posts that included different athletes from different races and backgrounds. As you can see on the left is the inclusion of their cross-country and track and field team, which consists of people from different backgrounds and races. While on the right is a picture of Yale University's most recently appointed women's basketball coach, who replaces a former Caucasian head coach. Thus, this shows how Yale University are willing to not only promote different races as coaches, but market constantly in a different way to reflect their institution's diversity.
In conclusion, the research conducted proves that each of these Division I schools displays some form of their diversity online, whether it be in a YouTube series year-round or a couple of posts throughout Black History Month. Regardless of statistical school demographics, schools such as UCLA or Harvard could improve their representation by aiming to recruit more diverse players from different backgrounds and further giving them proper media representation. Schools like the University of Florida is a great example of this, as their white population is higher than most, and they still boast their support for minorities by making a public stance on the Black Lives Matter movement and making sure to proudly post and display all of their athletes. Schools could also use the University of Michigan as an example following their public announcement of their diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. Adopting a plan like this would be beneficial for all schools to set a standard and hold the institution accountable for making an effort to remain inclusive. It is important that these institutions use diversity as something to be proud of, not something to throw in just for the sake of self-presentation. These are our references. Thank you for your time and attention, and we'll now take any questions and comments.